I'm here today with some awesome guys from Midwest Airstream Repair and Service in Wisconsin. So I get asked all the time, I live in Picketown, where should I take my trailer for service? Because people don't trust the dealerships and there's a lot of things going on, but people want upgrades and that kind of stuff. So uh, Sean Bledsoe from Air Krafters reached out to me some time ago and said, we're going to do our generator install and this, that, and the other. So when I was out visiting with him, I had a conversation with Sean about who who are his vendors, who are his installers, who are his all the things, and these guys came up, and I couldn't wait to meet them, and I really wish I'd went by there when I was in Wisconsin, but I was about 300 miles away, and I couldn't make my way down there because of my timeline. But I will get up there and visit you guys at some point. So I'm honored to sit down here today, and we're just going to chat about what they do, why you may want to visit them, and anything else that comes to mind, and what's going on. So gentlemen, thank you very much for the opportunity to sit and chat with you. I very much appreciate it. So if you could please just who you are and what Midwest Airstream Service is and where you are and that kind of thing.
Okay, I'm Steve Prouty.
Hey, Steve.
This is my son Clayton, and we're co-owners of Midwest Airstream Service. We're in Cazenovia, Wisconsin, and Clayton can tell kind of the story of how we got here.
Yeah, so kind of typical, but we were originally a vintage restoration shop, and way back he was just fixing up some Airstreams that he had. He's always been into muscle cars, and he was buying a few for inventory, fixing them up. Sold one to a gentleman in South Carolina, and he said, well, I see the work you're doing. Would you restore this one for me? I'm retiring in 5 years. So then I think that's when I started coming home on the weekends from school, and I was restoring it. And after I changed majors for like the 5th time, I said, I kind of really like when I'm going home on the weekends and working on this stuff, and I don't know what I'm doing in school yet. So then I came on full time, and he actually had bought a facility around that same timeline. So when we moved into that facility, that's when it kind of became a thing. Dad was helping me while running another business, and then he came on full time as well. 2 years after that?
It was January of 2020, right before COVID hit.
Yeah, and when I say full-time, he was working full-time and then working 20 more hours on the Airstreams for a while, and then he finally said, I'm done with my other business, I'll do the Airstream.
I had to make a choice. Sure. I had been an agricultural consultant for 30 years. Okay. And I was kind of like, this is way more fun. Oh, yeah. And it's super rewarding because of the people we get to work with, which you deal with all the time. It's a great community. So I was giving people bad news and trying to tell them how to fix it. Sure. So then when we switch over to the Airstream community, it's something they want. And, some people, we always say it's a good delivery when they cry, but they cry because they're happy. That's great. So the emotions are just so much better. And,
where were you in school?
I was in Platteville, and then I went to Whitewater. So
what'd you start out doing, or what would you?
Yeah, I started as pre-chiropractic. By the end, I had gotten all the way over to speech pathology.
Wow, you got the whole spectrum there.
Yeah, a lot of stuff in between.
Now you're working on trailers.
Yep.
What's your background with Airstream? Like, how did your first Airstream interaction?
Well, we've got a picture at home of me when I was 1.5 years old, which obviously I don't remember this on Easter. And my grandmother had taken a picture, and in the background is like a mid-'60s, early 60s Globetrotter or something. So my grandfather had them, and I used to go camping. I was raised on a dairy farm, so when I was little, I could leave for the summer and go with my grandma and grandpa. So that's always been fantastic memories. And I grew up and ended up in agricultural field. I never had any time to take off. So then my wife had brought it up, and I said, I'm gonna get an Airstream. Okay. And as Clayton said earlier, I used to restore muscle cars as a hobby, so it was a pretty easy segue over to taking them completely apart like I did the cars and restoring them from the ground up. So that's how we got started, and I found some rare ones, and that's where the first big project that he alluded to earlier was a 1947 Airstream liner. And I had bought 2 of them. They only made 90, and I ended up with 2, so I put one up for sale. And a gentleman from South Carolina was interested in it. He bought it basically off pictures and asked us to restore it. And that's really David Rogers. Thank you. He's kind of the guy that got us our foot going in the right direction. And then I had bought quite a bit of inventory over the years. And when we started doing the restorations, we would sell them to the people and restore them. And eventually it evolved in where I had joined the Airstream Club and started making a lot of connections. People like, well, would you be willing to do an air conditioner? And they saw our work, and our business has really moved into the newer ones. So there's just a big demand for people to have independent contractors take care of their stuff.
Last rally, we were in Missouri, and a friend of ours invited us over to their trailer, and they had some old scrapbooks from the initial Airstream rallies. 62 or 3, I can't remember what year it was, but Carolina Airstream Club established themselves back then. And Blair and I are from South Carolina. So she was flipping through the book, and she saw the roster, and she goes, that's my grandfather. 3 pages over, it's a picture of her grandparents with an Airstream in the Carolina Airstream Club, and we had no idea.
Really?
So she comes back and hops on Google Earth and zooms in on her their kids now. So her great uncle has that Airstream. It's a 65 Caravelle. It's still sitting in his driveway. Wow. We're trying to buy it, but there's a family dynamics there. But as soon as I said, just please give Brad first rights of refusal, because I'd love to take this thing, because it's the family heirloom.
Yeah.
It's been around, and we had no idea. We had no idea that was a thing.
Nice thing about an Airstream like that is definitely you can fix it.
Yes,
that, we've got that 1947 that was pulled out of a field basically, and we put a new frame and everything. It can be done. You can't do that on just any type of camper.
If I have a trailer, pick a year, and I want to come get service from you, what are you offering now?
Well, right now we are doing way more late models, so way more of the new ones, and our most common thing is the standard upgrades. So we're talking the lift kits, anything.
Do you make your own, or you use a Dexter?
We use a Dexter. We've talked about making our own. There is a little.
We modify it slightly because
we do modify it a little.
Yeah,
there's a little thing of liability that we've been curious about for making our own, but yeah, it's a real easy.
It's just a spacer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Vinny makes his own, and I really like it. It's a really nice little setup.
And they hold the bolts. So.
Yep.
Yeah, and there's a gap for the gas line if you have that model, and a little thinner so you don't have to cut the tank ever.
Normal battery of upgrades, a lot of just normal maintenance. We have a lot of repeat customers that come back and they just go, well, my one shade broke and I need it winterized, and by the way, we just wash and Walburnize it. But I think our biggest profit turner, I guess, for the last year and a half or so has been custom cabinetry upgrades, which we do. A lot of the Tradewin cabinets, if you're familiar, that bench right there, they want a cabinet right on top of that. So we do, and we'll do it however you want. We do a lot of hardwood upgrades for countertops, dinette, stuff like that. And then the biggest chunks are when we do the full Victron suite and the Air Krafter generator kit. So,
how'd you get involved with Sean with the Air Krafters?
I heard about the vents, and I saw a couple, and I said, I'm going to just order a couple of these, because I'm always looking for good partners. I wanted to see them, but I wanted to see what the quality was. And as soon as I got them, I just said, I'm getting a hold of this guy because he's doing it the way I would do it.
Sure.
So that just evolved into buying product from him. We put the generator on my coach, and I usually do that. Like when we first started doing the Victron, all that stuff, I would put it on my camper first, so we would have a good idea of how to do it. And as we were working through the install, I had some questions for him, and he just said, would you be interested in being a certified? Because he liked, we'd been around 10 years already and done a lot of stuff. So we just kind of fell into working together, and it's a great relationship.
Who's the woodworker, or both of you?
I do most of the woodworking. I should say started doing most of the woodworking. Now I'm doing most of the typing on the computer.
Yeah.
But I still do help if we need more bodies on the floor. And then he kind of manages the floor mostly. But he is the wiring.
Wiring guru.
Well, I try.
As much as anyone can be.
I'm the guy. Yeah.
You've been to all the Victron schools for programming and all that mess too?
No, I've learned by the YouTube University and talking to other people and just sitting there for hours reviewing and putting in, and that's why we have stuff on mine first, so we can get it signaled out. Yeah, it's hard to get time away to do that, but we would like to do that. The other thing I think at this point, we have a dedicated cabinet maker, and then Clayton works with him.
Yeah.
Clayton is what is basically the business manager, so he's in charge of the initial contact. He does all the estimates, and then he does the parts ordering, and he kind of hands me the list.
Okay.
And then we have 3 other people out in the shop, and I'm kind of doing the supervising and also working on it. So when you call us, one of the owners is the guy you talk to, and the other one is out there making sure it gets done. So, yeah, we've had pretty good retention of our guys. So we're looking to grow a little more. That's why we're here.
How many employees do you have total? And what square footage does your shop look like?
There's 6 counting Clayton and I, and then our shop is 4,300 square feet. It's an old creamery that was built in the 20s, and then it was converted into the town fire station, and they built a new one they did that in the 70s, and then they built a new one across the street, and we bought that in 2015, and that's when Clayton came on full time, and then a few years later I came on full time. It's a unique building.
Yeah, we are hoping to expand. He says unique, but
it's old.
It's old. Yeah. It's got, drains in the floor, which are very slanted. It has served us incredibly well, but we're ready to.
I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, we really, we've basically been at that place since 2015, but we were doing it before that. But we just wanted to take time to grow. We didn't go out and hammer and say we're the best and we can do this, because we were still learning. Yeah. And it's just been recently that I'm pretty cautious. And it's just been recently since I'm really ready to just let the world in, because we kept busy. Yeah. COVID, we had a huge waiting list. And that was maybe not even the best for us, because it was so much to do so quick. We
so
learned
much money out that we didn't get to. It was gross.
And we really try to not over promise. We don't want to have someone with their camper there for 6 months and we haven't touched it. And Clayton is just fantastic at the communications with the customer, which is one of the biggest complaints we hear. And if you were to ask me again, what's the best thing people have said, is that Clayton is excellent at communicating. I'm proud of him, my kids. But that really holds the business together when people feel comfortable. Yeah, we've had stories where we had a couple that they took their Argosy into a shop, and they had a list of the products. They wanted this air conditioner, they wanted this water heater, and it was, I don't know how familiar you are with it, but some of the Argosys had actually an aluminum floor instead of plywood.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a few of them.
It was 2 layers of really
It's like a
thick
mesh, not a mesh, but
anyways.
And that was kind of like, that's like a badge of honor to have one of those. The guy put a 3/4 sheet of plywood over all the aluminum floor, because the aluminum bellies out over time. He put the wrong air conditioner, the wrong water heater, and never said a word to him. So needless to say, they aren't going back to him. But, and it was all, the new flooring was all, it's just like, and that really drives home. You gotta be in contact. Yes. And I just had a guy today tell me he had someone work on his camper. He went in, and the mattress was dirty, and and this is what they live in, and there was aluminum shavings all over the bed. Yeah, he's like, he goes, the work was fine, but they didn't respect my home. And they've got good reputation overall, yeah.
I'm the same way. Like, if you're going to touch my stuff, man, take care of it. Like,
yeah.
Well, that's my biggest. I'll walk out, and we're all trying to be better at it. I'll walk out, and there'll be like a piece of cardboard by the entry door, but then they're doing something a little further. I'm like,
you can't creep off it. Yeah.
Get somebody in there and completely cover the floor, and then I know we're not working on the dinette. Put a thing on it anyway.
Because you always set a wrench on it.
Always. And then we are aggressive about, why is that drill standing up? Because that
was from way back.
Falls down, pokes a hole. Happened to us once.
One time, the brand new countertop, tink, and I had already had this rule in place, and I walked in. That was Ozzy.
What was it?
I walk in, and I look over, and he looks over at me, bumps, tink, He's just like,
Well, and then we just had this is, well, similar, but we do a lot of panel replacement for insurance. Should have mentioned the insurance. We do insurance repairs.
I do a lot of them.
Do a lot of insurance repairs.
Yeah.
But we had just put the replacement panel back up, and it was one of these window end cap ones. So then the guy was sanding, and then we had the belt sander skipped.
We have a tiny little mini belt sander
Yeah,
to clean up the edges, which is a great tool.
But then it skipped, and we didn't have any protected on it, and we had to then
scratch the panel above the one we just. No, it wasn't. It was
the panel
we just replaced it.
So anyway,
it picked up.
We lost a bit of money on that.
No,
we do not. But I just got some info from one of our clients about a guy in the Chicago area who does it, and I wanted to look him up. But I wanted to wait till we have one with a few on it, and then.
If you can run by a dealership or one of the panels you take off, just hit some dings in it and have them work, because it's a totally different.
Well, he did this gentleman's Airstream. Okay. He did a couple on it, so that's why he's like.
Some people try to come out of a car and try to do it, but the end caps, the rounded caps, are really the only ones you can do. The side panels are really hard because they're so thin. Yeah. I got a rock hit me on the way somewhere in Nebraska coming across the country this time, right in the front corner panel up there. And it's very sharp. I'm so pissed.
Yeah.
So
aluminum stretches. Yeah. So it's hard to.
I was going to take it to Ivan. I'm going out there to get their vented to put the front end separation. We're going to be on the West Coast for a couple months in the spring. So.
Yeah, we're just getting into some of the front end separation. So
build a bracket and hook it into the up.
We're gonna copy Vinny.
He'll send you one. He's such a great guy. It's so good. It's such a good setup. I really like it. So you just peel the front panel down, put it in, bolt it together.
Well, it's funny too because Airstream made a very similar bracket, but it was out of aluminum and it didn't tie together.
It's the silliest damn thing. He's got in his shop. He's got the progression. So the little L bracket was double-sided tape. Then the L bracket that was riveted. Then the L bracket that was double riveted. Then a little bit bigger L bracket with a turn in it. Now a much bigger one with a third. It's just they keep getting better. But I'm like, just reinforce the whole damn area.
They never had that in the vintage ones because they have a steel L bracket and they don't have any compartments.
And there's 100 rivets in it.
There's a pile of rivets. Yeah.
My second thing is like, why don't they address it to the world?
You know how long it took them to get rid of the plywood floors when the technology was there for decades? That's good for us. If we didn't have rotten floors in the back, we might not have a business. We lived off the rear floor repair.
Do you do, when you do an insurance job, do you buck rivet or like fully?
I always push for buck rivets, and sometimes the clients don't want the interior to be demoed. I've actually never had an insurance company. Well, one time, the insurance company was picky, but usually they're like, "I don't know. That's okay. It's an Airstream. I have no idea."
They don't. I think the Airstream owners sometimes don't fight hard enough to get what they want, and they'll just. The insurance company will be like, well, this is what we're going to do. And and I say, you're paying to have your camper put back to just how it was before the damage. Just how it was is buck rivets. So they need to do that if that's what you want.
I'm not opposed to Olympic rivets. My last Airstream, we had that whole side panel and this back corner panel replaced before I picked it up. If I had known the guy was doing it, what he was going to do, I would have never had him do it because I could get my fingernail behind every rivet all the way on, all down the side.
Well, I gotta say, there's also Olympic rivets get a bad rap, but I think that there's a vast majority that are not installed correctly.
Amen. And that's what his problem was.
Well, some of them come with those rubber gaskets on them. Peel that off and throw them away.
There's a new one with a rubber gasket that's built into it. Have you seen those? That's what they're sending out. I got some. I'll show you.
Rubber deteriorates. So we don't buy those anymore.
I get them from airports or whatever it is. He's got the one without the rubber. That's what I use. Yeah.
And dip them in some Sikaflex, pop them in.
Super easy. I just did it on this guy, my neighbor right here.
But it's the people, they don't, I mean, it's, we send pictures sometimes of when we're doing like the most common repair is this below the window because they always
gas stations
and yellow scrapes.
I'm like, Didn't you hear? You see them when they scrape the whole trailer. I'm like, at what point, like at three inches into it, I would have stopped.
I think people panic or they just genuinely don't understand what's going on. But we take this whole side out and send them a picture, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, what?" But then a lot of times it comes back better than it was when we get it all put together.
Do you have a wait list to get in your door?
Yeah, so right now I'm booking into the end of October, into November. So, and I have, we have stuff sprinkled all through the winter and in the spring, but not too crazy. We've had it a lot longer, but we've also gotten a lot better in recent memory. So we're actually able to have pretty quick turnaround, which is nice and scary at the same time.
I imagine that's for a big bill, but like if someone is near you passing through town, has an issue and they call you up, can you get somebody in for a fix a thing?
We have emergencies that we'll help with what I would consider like an emergency for a quick thing too. For some of the stuff, of course, it's, everything's an emergency if you can't go camping. Yes. But if it's a super important thing, we'll try to get you on the road. But sometimes we go, that'll be a couple weeks for that.
We end up doing a lot of like remote help on the customers that we deal with.
Don't you wish everybody knew how to use a multimeter?
Well, really, it might not be good.
I know. But if someone calls me and they say, Brad, my flux capacitor doesn't work, and I'm like, all right, let's start with the battery and work our way back. Right. All right, there's your problem.
We recently had that exact thing come up with one that the battery disconnect wasn't working, and he had no idea how to do it, and he didn't really need to, but it's hard to
bolts on the back of that solenoid come loose in it.
Yeah, so we also tell people when we do a project for them, from then on we're kind of their people. Sure. So come to us first, and if it's a weekend or whatever, we'll take care of you. We want to keep everybody on the road. Sure. And that's important to us.
What's the closest dealership to you guys?
Ewald's in Milwaukee, and that's 2.5 hours away.
Yeah, 2.5, 2:45 to the actual dealership, I think.
The Midwest is kind of unique because there's one in Chicago, and that's it, I think. In Illinois, there's one in Wisconsin, which is Ewald's, and then there's, I think, only one in Minnesota. So there's and then as you go directly west, you go out through the Dakotas and stuff, it gets pretty slim, right?
This one's Montana.
Like Nebraska doesn't have much. Yeah. So there's a vacancy there that we're able to fill and keep people on the road, basically.
What kind of cabinetry you got for this back lounge here, this back area for the hatch?
It depends on what you're looking for, really. We do pretty much everything's full custom. We've done a lot of replacing that cushion behind you with the cabinet. Yep. I've had somebody who chickened out that wanted me to build a set-inable thing so they could still use that. They could take it out. We could do something like that. Depends on how much you get in and out of your back door.
We open it for breeze, and that's it. I have no kayaks. I wouldn't put bikes in here and do all that mess. So we just use it for opening. I really like the, if I could take this and just make a lounge all the way around where I can sit all the way around the table, and you got a removable cushion here if you need to raise it up or something.
Yeah, so it would be pretty simple to build a seat height bench across there, and then we do have a upholsterer that we work with that we subcontract that's worked on 100 Airstreams at this point that can build you whatever you want.
Do you change out the foam? A lot of people don't like this.
She does when she does that, yeah. Depends on how involved you want to be with the meeting, but she'll stack 3 different densities to get the right butt feel, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, this lady is her parents owned an upholstery business. She came right out of graduation and went into that, and she's got a lot of experience, and she's very good.
Cool. She worked on yachts a lot before we found her, so that's kind of a similar thing.
What's your favorite thing to do, both of you independently?
I'll go first. I do the wiring, but I think that I own the place, so I pick that. So I really enjoy the challenge of the wiring and making sure everything works and getting it just right. And then it's a big payback. We used to joke on the vintage stuff. I did the wiring and I did a lot of the plumbing. And then these guys would come in and do all the pretty stuff, and all my stuff was hidden. So I didn't ever get any credit. But the electrical stuff with the modern, and I can show, let's talk about the generator. Sure. You know, you can start the generator with the push button. You can start it with the touch. I can start it with my phone, and I can start it with my laptop computer. And so I think that's really interesting to me.
We didn't wire mine in that way. I just got the buttons.
Okay, well, we can take care of that for you. When you're trying to explain this to someone that's not that interested, it's like when people are showing you pictures of stuff, you can see their faces glaze over. So when I can find someone that's interested in it, it's just amazing what the technology will do.
I would love, this was the first trailer I've ever wired up like that myself. And, first time Blair saw this thing, I had the whole bedroom gutted and doing everything. She said, "What have you done to this trailer? Is it going to go back?" I said, "I promise it'll go back together." So I worked on helicopters in the Marine Corps, so the 12-volt system and that kind of stuff is pretty similar to me. Right. And I knew all that airframe is the same as the skin of the frame, and I understand that pretty well. I felt confident to do what I did, but it was just the first one I'd ever done. So I'd like to go back and sort out a few things and fix a few things that I didn't.
Yeah, that's a common thing we say is I'm pretty sure every year we improve, and we'd like to go back to redo every single thing we've ever done always, because we're like, oh, I just learned I could save a run of wire by doing this.
And that's that's the challenge of owning this business and running this business. There's always a process you can improve on, and everyone there, I think, is pretty tapped into that. So we're like, what'd you do here? And sometimes the guys come up with something I've never thought of, which is great because we have some pretty talented younger guys, and like, what'd you do? And I'm like, yeah, we should have been doing that all along. I'm going to take your idea, and that's what we're doing forward. So it's a real team.
I'm very interested in 12-volt air conditioners. I don't know if you guys have any experience with touching or feeling what they're like.
I've been looking at the inverter technology a little bit, and I'm kind of the 12-volt. Is it the right? That's something. I'll probably put one on my camper someday to check it out.
I would do the same. I met two guys at last year's rally who started messing with it, and they'd taken their Atlas, which I don't like those things anyway, but they pulled the air conditioners off their Atlas and put their new 12-volt on, and they were running it off an EcoFlow battery inside the trailer. The delta was like 20-degree delta from the intake to exit, and from temperature-wise, and it was super quiet and very, very efficient on these batteries. I couldn't believe it. But
well, and that's not a really new technology. That's a lot of the semi-over-the-road guys had those, right? Yeah.
It's something I think would be interesting, and if you really want to be an off-grid capable machine, like having those 12-volt air conditioners, as long as they work. I just don't know.
Right.
Getting in the wiring of these stupid trailers is kind of a pain to rewire something. Yeah. So that's my least favorite part about that.
I have that conversation a lot with prospective clients, and they say, "What do you think about this?" And I say, "Nobody's done it yet, but you could be the first, and you could let me know how it works." I'd love that.
Yeah. I try to save people money. I'm like, putting the generator on here and all the other things I've done to this trailer. If I didn't live in it full time, 80% of that's not necessary and not something I would do again if I didn't use it every single day. But anything that makes our life 1% better or a little bit more comfortable or gives us the capability to go somewhere makes life easier because it's our full-time house.
Yep. So, what is your favorite part?
Yeah, sorry.
I like the show lumber stuff. So all the tops, because they're just they're not hard, not, relatively. We've got the right tools for it, so it's nice and cool. Get to select the grain, get it looking how you want, and then it's just this giant, beautiful piece that completely changes how the whole space looks. So,
looking at Tayfun's work in there, he does a great woodworking.
Yeah, that's good.
When I met a guy in North Carolina who does some of the same thing. He's done a lot of work in his own trailer, like the tabletop up there and this tabletop and bed slats. He's made a number of other things, but people who can do that amaze me. But I don't. I know how to do it, but I'm not talented enough. And I don't have the equipment either. But
once you got a joiner and a table saw and some giant clamps, it's a lot easier.
I love watching. I mean, my TikTok is like people making wood things and just making. I like people who make stuff. It's really interesting. Any innovative technology that you've seen, or stuff that you wish more customers would do, or you try to steer people away from?
Well, it's not really innovative, but people need to be getting their camper leak tested more often. for the exterior. Pressurize your campers.
You guys do that?
Yeah, we do that.
We have the Seal Tech
The
system.
Seal Tech system, and it's not even. I'd love if they came and had us do it, but just anywhere because it extends the life of your camper so much longer.
Especially the pre-20, the 20s and older.
With the wooden floors, yeah.
And if you would have asked us even 4 years ago, what's the most popular repair? It's rear floor subframe repair. Yeah, yeah, because the just the design, you've heard that before, but it's a water trough right into the plywood.
My friend Rick Wright, his YouTube channel, The Right Life, he had the same problem.
Yep.
He was like, "What's going on with my roof?" He thought it was roof leaking, so he kept checking up there. And I was like, "It's the back corner. Check back here." And he found it.
Yeah, we've done a pile of those and a lot of frame repair on the older ones because of that. So anyway, that goes back to
it's a pain in the butt too because you can find a leak, but then there could be one a foot away that you wouldn't know about unless you did the actual leak testing.
That's a great idea. I hadn't thought about that.
Yep.
2020 and older.
Yeah, we say 3 to 5 years. So,
and it's work. So some people go like one of our early customers was a lady that went to get repair done at Jackson Center, and they just said, "Your camper's 6 years old. We need to completely strip everything and replace it." And that's the way to avoid having problems. But it was $5,000. So we did a $250 leak test and found no leaks on the roof, but we found leaks on other places. So she'll be back in another 2 or 3 years, and she can have that done several times, not even come close to, what's actually leaking is what we need to take care of.
Are you using AdSeal on the roof or Sikaflex or something else?
we're using, I still have like 30 bottles of Trempro 635. We have a good rule of thumb that is, does this ever need to come off again? Then we're not going to use Sikaflex. And if it will need to come off again, we'll use Sikaflex. Of course, we still use Acrylar on the body seams. And then the temp. Yeah, it's lots of fun.
But it works.
Once you figure out how to do it, but the first time you do it, it's like stringing everywhere and this is a mess. Yeah.
We have one of our guys was raised in a shop where they do all kinds of custom fabrication, and he can just do it freehand, and it looks beautiful.
And it only took him like one camper's worth to, took me.
I still
campers.
use tape. I use tape.
I don't do, it's something I touch very rarely, but I do it. Y'all doing this clear door glass here?
Yep, we are. We just did one of those. We get our Ultimate Airstream. They have to call Ultimate Airstreams themselves, but then they'll ship it right to us. Ian hooked us up with that. So,
yeah, that's one of my favorite things I've done. The screen, the shade is a little weird, but I do like the.
It works.
Yeah,
but that out of the screen door shade's a little. Well, my guys, they were all staring at it, trying to figure out how to put the shade on it first. I'm like, it goes on the screen door.
Ultimate, they move the handle over here. And they have the hook for the shade, so you really got to close this to hook wherever they hook the door on. But I put on this lock right here, August lock, so I can lock it with my phone. And now I can't move that out of the way. But so I got to.
Can you just cut the corner of it off?
You could, but anyway, it works. I like what I have. I got some plexiglass in here now. I was trying to work out a way to tint that and put a permanent piece of plexiglass in there, so I can have my door open but still have my air conditioning on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I need somebody, if you guys are having a person or an innovative enough, like who can tint these back windows with some ceramic tint. So I can leave this open and still look out, but it doesn't get so blazing hot in here. Because most people won't tint a curved window. That's such a pain to tint. Or some kind of insert that would go in here that's like a heat shield that I can still look out. But
take all of that.
if you go outside and stand here, this back window's tinted some and it has a screen, so it's kind of hard to see through. But those windows are tinted, but these top two, and all four corner windows are not tinted. That's the only windows on here that are not tinted. Everything else has some tint to it. I just want to put a film on it, and you just got to find the right person who will tint a curved piece of glass.
Right.
Because that's something I'd love to do. Because we'd love to be here, and like if you open that right now, you're getting beamed by the sun.
Oh yeah.
I tried to get a guy to tint it for me earlier, but I said I want to tint this glass, and I want to get a piece of plexiglass. It's removable, but it's tinted here too, so I can have a screen door, but a solid door. That kind of thing, but. Maybe something you guys want to be.
We'll work on it. Maybe next time we talk, we'll have the solution for you. I'd say, we talked a little about inverter technology on the AC. I'll probably eventually buy one of those. I'd like to have one that would fit on the ducted AC, and I don't want to have to 3D print all this stuff, but maybe. But I guess one thing, and it's not it's not super innovative, but I think a lot of people overlook it as the DC to DC charging.
Okay, yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah.
We want to talk about the different vehicles and what's good and what's bad.
We've done several. I have it on mine, and I was just putting it on because I knew someone would want it, and I had used my camper, and it was down. I've got 900 amp hours, so it takes a lot, but it was down to like 85%, and the first time I took off with it, and I was pushing basically the same as 600 watts of solar on there, and it was just, it's just effortless. You don't really have to turn it on and off. It turns itself on and off. You can preset it to whatever you want to have come in. So, we've done GMs and Fords so far.
Sure.
And I said earlier, the GMs you can buy, even my half ton has a slot open for a snowplow prep fuse package. So that's a very clean install. It comes with the fuses and everything. And then you've also got an extra 200 amp available. I don't know what you'd use it for, but maybe a snowplow. But and then the Fords, I don't know that they have that option. We looked and we couldn't find it, so we just put a fuse holder under the hood and ran the cable to it and stuff. And we talked about the upfitter switches, and you had said there was it was kind of limited by the 30 amp.
There are 6 switches up there. The first 4 are 25 amps, and the last 2 are 40 amps. I had already bought a 30 amp DC to DC charger. This was a few years ago, and I said I'll just hook it up to that same mount because I rarely use it, and when I do use it, it's really handy. But now that I have the generator, it's not something I do.
After a conversation, I was thinking we could put a relay in instead, and then you could use a 20 amp, which you could you can switch a relay with very low amperage, so you could put a relay and still utilize that. But you don't really need to turn it on and off.
Yeah, oh, that's handy.
It takes care of itself because then the Orion 50, it senses when the truck's on, when it's off, and it ties in with the Victron suite, so it just won't charge it if it doesn't need it.
If you guys mess with a trade wind, whatever that 7-way pin is, has that booster charger. I'm not sure what it's called. It's an Australian thing.
We haven't tore into that yet, but they've got basically an onboard DC to DC charger through the 7-pin, is what I understand.
It's an Australian company. I remember seeing them when I was in Australia. They got some really cool off-grid, off-road trailers down there, but it's built 7-way plug, hits it, and then it goes to your distribution panel, but it's an amplifier of some sort that charges.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we have it. We've worked on a few trade winds, but we haven't got to tear in it. We're doing cabinetry.
They're still a little new yet that a lot of people don't like us thinking. I get it.
Well, speaking of the trade wind, the one thing we've started doing is on my coach, I put an exhaust thermostatically controlled exhaust fan out through the side of the coach, because the trade winds are having issues where the multi-plus heats up so much, especially when they're charging. They really throw out a lot of heat, but that heat, there's fans, but it's just blown right back in the cabin. So it's kind of a vicious cycle, and they're shutting down and they can't get cool. So we've got a couple now that we're going to exhaust out the side. So I think that'll be interesting to see how that works.
We've done a couple, and then we have a couple on the list.
But they're not the trade winds.
Oh yeah, we just do, when we do that Victron system, we just offer that as a thing, and people have chosen to do it.
I need to put a fan in mine. I don't have the overheating problem. It's only overheated on me once, and we were in Colorado. It was like 98 degrees and no power. I just wanted some air conditioning for a little while, and my Victron overheated. But I got the Multiplus 3000, so I cut the top of that thing off, and so I could have more vent coming through there.
Yep.
I wish that if I known I was ever going to do a generator, I would have put the Quattro on. I didn't know about the Quattro at the time, but
with the system we put in, you get that Atkins micro controller, and I can do everything. So I've got the Multi-Plus, and I can do all that with everything, interactions with, like I spoke of earlier, with turn it on with the phone or whatever. So
I was thinking about where I was going to put the fans. A lot of people put them right there in the middle, but I need to move my circuit breaker panel over some, or move the fan underneath the bed a little bit more, but I'll figure that out.
So we've put, again, some of the other ones we've done, we'll put a vent, not necessarily that close to the fan, low. So then if your air conditioning is running, the cold air settles, and then we put a fan mid that will pull.
Okay.
So it pulls the cool air through across, and it kind of helps pull it out. And then when you put the exterior fan, you know, the thought is we can then pull, and we put that high, you know, so that's just my thought.
That's how it should work on
Yeah,
paper. That seems to be working pretty effectively when we temp it.
But to get some of the cooler air in the cabinet and keep it moving the right direction with the fans, I think is a big.
That's a great idea. I hadn't thought about that. I've been noodling. I was laying there last night noodling about where would I put a fan vent in here that I could suck cool air through and then blow it out in here. But that's another project for someday.
We're doing our first washer dryer install in a few weeks.
Right here?
Right there, yeah.
You're real nervous.
We're most worried about getting the plumbing drain all the way over. We're going to have to take the fridge out and half that cabinet. But
I saw somebody with one in the Airstream, but I don't mind going to the laundromat. It ain't that big a deal.
No, but if they want it,
that's what we do.
I say make it your own. I don't judge anybody for what you're going to do.
Our line in the sand is it going to be safe?
Yes.
And everyone can make their own style choices and utilitarian choices, but that's where we won't do it.
Do you guys weigh a trailer before and after you're finished the job?
We just started doing that if we do something crazy, but the gentleman actually, it was 1,400 tongue weight when it came in, and my scale actually only went up to 12, so I wasn't able to.
Because, I tell people, I said, look at the door sticker coming out of the factory, that's what it was, and if you add battery, inverter, then you do a generator, then you do this, and then, you got to be mindful of the weight you carry.
It adds up fast.
His actually, because we moved the batteries, he got all that put in, and the tongue weight's a little less. I don't know what his total weight is, but
yeah, my tongue weight was 1,100 pounds when we put the generator on. When we put the generator on and moved the tire back, it's now 1,000 pounds, so it went down 100.
Yeah, mine went down 40. Yeah. So, but overall, Clayton actually called up. Who was it? Was it Airstream you called up about the gross vehicle weight rating, trying to get an answer on?
It was Dexter and Airstream.
We got one.
Well, they only make the 3 axles. Yeah. It's 10s, 11s, 12s, yes. And those are rated for this. And what I don't understand yet is they derate it and then send it to Airstream.
Yes.
So what I can't get an answer on is, did they actually change the axle, or did they just change the rating stamp?
Have you asked them here? I talked to them here, and they're like, go by the number. I said, come on, give me something, man.
That's the safe,
Yeah, I get it. I understand that, but I want to know for real.
Coming from, the vintage stuff we did, we've upgraded a lot of axles, and it's always, when you buy it from Dexter, it's always a range, yes. Right? So we look at, let's say, my camper. It's got two 3,500-pound axles. It's 7,000. But that's not what they say. That's not the gross vehicle weight rating. So we're like, if the axles can handle it, what's that missing component? Yes. And they say it's the superstructure. I have a hard time believing that the way these are constructed, that's the limiting factor. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
This is aircraft construction. Yeah. It's all tied together.
Yes.
But
in the frame, they're not using different frame stock. It's the same frame stock. Yes. So you're telling me that Bambi, that's 16 foot, the rating.
And we're on the same. Yeah. We just want the answer.
I concur with you.
Yes. To me, I don't want to be dangerous, but
yes.
To me, I said if I just go up the next level axle.
But that's not the limiting factor. No, it's the gross vehicle weight rating. And just putting the axles on, apparently, because that's the question we were asking.
Me and you were asking the same question.
Yeah, it's like, why? But no one answers it.
No. And I don't know, because I had the same thought. The frame on here is the same as a frame on a classic 33. I mean, it's the same frame. It's just a little bit longer. And I said, well, it can't be the frame as a limiting factor. It's the axle. And typically, it used to be the 2 axles together. That was your gross vehicle weight rating.
Right.
But
no, not
anymore. Now they dumb it down and add a hitch weight to it. And then, so my next question is, so when I weigh my trailer truck combo, is the weight sitting on the axle what I need to be looking for, or total weight, kind of thing?
Right, because if you have it hooked up to weight distribution hitch, you're spreading it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is a conundrum that I don't understand, and I don't have an engineering brain to really figure all that out. So I like my air safe hitch, keeps my trailer safe and less bouncy, and I pull with a Super Duty, and I don't have any weight distribution system at all. So I like all that setup. So that's a big discussion I have often.
Yeah, I'm sure, because that's just get in the forums and start asking about hitches, payloads.
Yeah, I know it's the third rail, tire pressure, payload, all the mess. I get.
Then end up with all the front end separation because everybody's got a 1,500-pound hitch and a
Towing vehicles they have no business towing with.
Yep.
See it so often. What does the world need to know to get in touch with you? Do you have social media? What's your website? If I want to get work done, you got photos to show, or your own attics? Where do people?
We of course have Facebook, Instagram. We actually just got Instagram. We have our vintage restoration has an Instagram. But anyways, the business is Midwest Airstream Service. It's MidwestAirstreamService.com. And you can chat with us anyway. The website has the phone number, has the email, has all that stuff. You can shoot me a message on Facebook. That's how we get a lot of people. And yeah, I do post in Airstream attics every once in a while if we do something cool. We've been trying to be a little more active on social media, so we're going to be doing that going forward.
Yeah, we're getting some help to do a better job on that. So they should.
We hit a middle ground where I had time to do it and do all this stuff.
That's slipping away.
It went away. So we got somebody that'll help with that and keep us updated. But yeah, there's a lot of posts on there that do showcase the type of stuff we do. So.
Gentlemen, I'm so grateful for you coming over. Thank you for the time, and I genuinely recommend anyone out there in the world who needs something and live in that region or passing through the region needs something done. And I think it's a great time of year. You're finishing up the camping season. If you're going to put your thing in storage for a few months anyway, and you got time to drop it off to get something done that was missing from this camping season, I think it's a great opportunity to do that, and let's get on the schedule now, because that way your trailer will be ready to go.
Thanks so much for inviting us in, and it was a great talking to you.
Yeah, I wouldn't miss. I'm so glad to meet you guys, and I'm sorry it took this long, but here we are.
Everybody's busy.
We're on the move all the time, so it's really great to see you, and can't wait to come back through your area and stop by the shop for real. So thank you very much for your time. Good to see you guys. Yeah. I love what you do, and I can't wait to come see you guys.
Yeah, I'd like to get you over there and show you our 100-year-old building.
Hey, Blair, what kind of work you want done?